The Virgin Mary's message today is one of urgency and deep compassion. In these turbulent times, she calls upon us to take action and heed her warnings, particularly regarding the safety of those living in certain cities that face grave danger. Her voice rings out as a call for spiritual awakening, urging us to prepare both physically and spiritually for the challenges that lie ahead. Mary, as our Heavenly Mother, has always cared deeply for her children. In this message, her love and concern for us are palpable, especially as she alerts us to the imminent threats that are escalating around the world. She emphasizes that we are living in critical times, and the need for unwavering faith and spiritual readiness has never been more pressing. Her words convey the weight of the moment, and she urges us to seek divine protection and strengthen our relationship with God, particularly through the power of prayer. One of the central themes of Mary's message is the importance of prayer, especially the Rosary, which she presents as a vital shield against the trials ahead. In a world fraught with chaos and turmoil, prayer is not merely a spiritual practice, it is our best defense. The Rosary, a journey through the sacred mysteries, allows us to connect with God on a deeper level, providing us with the strength, peace, and divine guidance we need to navigate the stormy seas of life. Mary is deeply concerned about the world's state, as she sees the transgressions against her Son, Jesus Christ, and the consequences of these actions. Natural disasters such as earthquakes, storms, and tsunamis are part of the trials ahead, and she urges us to remain spiritually grounded, focusing on prayer and living in accordance with God's will. Mary calls out specifically for prayers for countries that are especially vulnerable, including Austria, Turkey, Guatemala, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Argentina. These nations are in urgent need of our spiritual support, and our collective prayers can make a profound impact. To fortify ourselves against these challenges, Mary advises us to stay in a state of grace. This means adhering to the commandments, regularly partaking in the Eucharist, and seeking reconciliation with Jesus. These spiritual actions not only strengthen us internally, but also serve as a safeguard, offering divine protection as we navigate through the physical upheavals that threaten to shake the world. In a world that is constantly distracted by technology, material concerns, and societal pressures, Mary calls us to turn our focus back to our spiritual mission. We must realign our lives with love, faith, and a commitment to helping others. This message is not only about personal salvation, but about remembering that we are part of a global community of believers. Mary encourages us to pray for one another, to offer support through prayer, and to share in the needs and intentions of others. This time of prayer and spiritual preparedness is not just a precaution, it is an invitation to transformation. By reconnecting with our faith and deepening our relationship with God, we can face the unknown with confidence, knowing that we are protected by His grace and guided by His light. As we move forward, Mary's message is one of hope, reminding us that through faith and prayer, we can overcome any adversity and remain steadfast in the love of Christ. The message from the Virgin Mary transcends all borders, reminding us that no matter where we are in the world, we are all in dire need of prayer and divine protection. As we face unprecedented challenges, her words guide us toward spiritual preparedness, offering profound wisdom during these trying times. One of the central aspects of her message is the importance of sacramentals, such as the Rosary and blessed grapes. These holy items, blessed by God, provide spiritual protection in times of distress, serving as a powerful reminder of our faith and the divine grace that surrounds us. The blessed grapes, in particular, are highlighted as an essential source of sustenance during times of famine or emergency, emphasizing God's providence. This reflection on the sacredness of nourishment in times of scarcity echoes the biblical truth that faith in God's provision can sustain us through the most challenging periods. But Mary's message goes beyond just physical sustenance. She warns of greater cataclysmic events to come, such as plagues, wars, and other global crises. However, these warnings are not intended to instill fear, but to strengthen our commitment to faith and prayer. Mary assures us that through her intercession and God's protection, we can endure these trials. The call to prayer is a constant theme, as Mary urges us to remain spiritually aware, committed to prayer, and connected to each other through shared faith. Amidst the trials, Mary emphasizes the importance of compassion and unity. During such trying times, it's easy for fear to breed selfishness, but she calls on us to set aside our fears and treat each other with love and empathy. Her message calls for fraternity among all people, as we are all part of God's creation. In this shared journey, Prayer becomes a vital tool for promoting unity, and the rosary serves as a powerful instrument in this mission. Each bead represents a step closer to God, and every prayer is a contribution to a global chain of prayer that binds us together in spiritual strength. This worldwide connection through prayer is a beacon of hope. Even in the face of global challenges, Mary's message reminds us that through prayer, we can find unity and strength. We are not alone in our struggles. We are connected through faith, and together, we will navigate the uncertainties of the future. Mary's message also points to the severe moral and spiritual crises facing humanity today. She laments the growing disorientation in both society and the church, where distractions and materialism often take precedence over spiritual truths. She urges us to remember our true purpose, to follow God's will and resist the temptation to be consumed by worldly concerns. The challenges we face are not just natural disasters but spiritual trials, testing our faith and our commitment to living according to divine truths. As we reflect on her words, it's clear that Mary is also concerned about the direction the Church is taking under the leadership of Pope Francis. She warns of potential shifts in Catholic theology and customs that could lead believers astray. This reinforces her call for the faithful to stay grounded in their belief, to remain steadfast in prayer, and to seek spiritual truth in a world that increasingly turns away from it. In the face of all these challenges, Mary's message offers a pathway forward, one of unwavering faith, unity, and prayer. As we prepare for the trials ahead, we must hold on to our faith, stay spiritually vigilant, and trust in God's eternal love and protection. Through the power of prayer, especially the Rosary, we can unite in strength and hope, knowing that divine grace will guide us through the darkest of times. The Church's responsibility and the Virgin Mary's call for renewal in her message. The Virgin Mary sheds light on the crucial role the Church plays in seeking forgiveness for humanity's sins. She reminds us of the Church's responsibility to act as a mediator, pleading for forgiveness on behalf of all of us. This calls into question the Church's current direction, especially when it comes to its doctrines on sin, confession, and repentance. The Virgin Mary, while acknowledging the Church's role as a source of spiritual guidance, urges us to reflect deeply on whether it is staying true to the foundational tenets of the faith during these trying times. Her message is clear. The Church must remain steadfast in its commitment to upholding the core beliefs of Christianity, particularly following the commandments, receiving the Eucharist, and living in a state of grace. However, the message also touches on concerns regarding Pope Francis's leadership and his approach to modernizing certain aspects of Catholic theology. While some see these changes as necessary to adapt to the modern world, others fear that they may undermine the Church's essential teachings. This internal tension is evident in the Virgin Mary's call for the faithful to uphold the sacred principles of the Church, while carefully navigating potential shifts in its structure and doctrine. The message also raises important questions about the idea of collective sin and the Church's role in addressing global issues like social justice and environmental degradation. In her discourse, the Virgin Mary highlights the need to address these modern challenges without losing sight of the spiritual mission of the Church. Concepts like the inclusion of new sins, such as those tied to social and environmental harm, invite reflection on how the Church can remain relevant and spiritually focused while confronting the moral dilemmas of today's world. In response to these challenges, the Virgin Mary calls Christians to action. She encourages us to participate in spiritual practices that strengthen our faith and protect us from the difficulties ahead. She urges us to seek God's mercy and guidance, particularly through prayer, including the Lord's Prayer and the Ave Maria. By living in a state of grace and focusing on our spiritual growth, we can prepare for the hardships that may come and find solace in the divine protection that is promised to those who remain faithful. Despite the gravity of her warnings, the Virgin Mary's message is one of hope, compassion, and maternal love. She reassures us that, no matter how dark the times may seem, her love will always be there to guide and comfort us. She urges us to unite in faith and prayer, seek reconciliation with Christ, and trust in God's plan for our lives. The message of the Virgin Mary is a beacon of hope in these uncertain times. It reminds us that, through our faith and trust in God's protection, we can face and overcome any obstacle. As we look to the future, we are called to lead lives of compassion, grace, and unwavering faith. With the Virgin Mary's intercession, we are assured of the strength and peace we need to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Thank you for joining this journey of reflection and growth. Your presence and participation make this exploration meaningful, and I hope the shared experiences of humanity continue to inspire and uplift you. Until next time, may peace and hope guide you.